It's February 28th. Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform continues its operation. My name is Svetlana, and now we will be talking about the situation in Ukrainian-Polish border and blocking of the border by Polish protesters. Joining us online is Vladimir Balyn, Vice President of the Association of International Road Carriers of Ukraine. Good afternoon, Mr. Vladimir. Good afternoon. So, Mr. Vladimir, what is the situation for the time being in the border with Poland? How many trucks are still blocked? Well, talking about the Polish side, it's more than 2,000. It was 2,100 yesterday in the morning, and unfortunately the State Border Guard Service did not provide the information about the number in the line in the checkpost of Vyshne Nemetsky in Shobzachin. And there is a lot of trucks too, because many trucks are making a detour, and the checkposts have smaller capacity, and there is a problem that is now experienced both by exporters and importers. So we have on one hand 2,100 of trucks standing in the Polish border. There are many trucks staying on our side of the border, but they leave and go to other checkposts because the movement is very slow. And talking about Yahutin, more than 10 days the trucks are not moving. Do the protesters let through the humanitarian cargo and passenger transport? Currently the passenger transport is being let through. Talking about humanitarian cargo, we don't hear about any restrictions within the last couple of days. For example, Finnish association was asking us for support with bringing their truck in. They were waiting for 1 day. Within the last week, as they stood in the line, it was 15 kilometers to the checkpost. The police checked them and they told us to move further on. They went to the checkpost, they were turned back, and only on the next morning, as they approached the place of protest, their documents were checked once again and they were able to enter. And we know that now we lose at least 1 day, but we don't have any reports about the humanitarian aid not being let through. You've mentioned that the situation impacts both importers and exporters. So what is the situation with the supply of the products? How did the situation influence both Polish and Ukrainian businesses? Well, I'm sure that both Ukrainian and Polish businesses lose. The budgets of both countries lose. And talking about supply of the products, logistics is becoming more and more important. How it will influence the price, I cannot give any comments with this regard for the time being, but I don't think it will be significant. We have this experience of previous strike, and the prices on the shelves of the supermarkets have not grown. But at the same time, there were no discounts, traditional pre-New Year discounts. So basically it was the consumer who had paid more. Now we have a lot of blame that there are trucks in the line, that the food may get worse, there are restrictions. And if today we had a discussion, for example, with the importers about the food products being deteriorated in the Polish side, and I'm having a question: if they go through another border, for example, and they stand into general line in Hungary, for example, and in Polish the line is like 700 to 800 trucks, and you have to make a detour, and only on the Ukrainian side you get stopped. You see, you get your document checks, they see the truck was not in line, and it kind of infuriates our State Border Guard Service. They stop further movement. Yes, such things happen from time to time, but there is the civil control on the Ukrainian side, that's correct, but it's exercised only due to the previous strike of the Polish protesters. They were calling our transporters and telling them that they will let them through without obstacles, and they will get their goods in a way more expedient manner. And now there is a civil control on the Ukrainian side of the border, checking whether the trucks were staying in line or if the food products with a short shelf life cross the border, yeah, they say that everybody should be staying in the same condition. According to your estimation, what other economy sectors that are the mostly affected by this situation in the border? It's difficult to say, you know, because it's agrarians who are protesting, who block our grain, and now there is a grain corridor through the seaways, and even in Danube they have enough work. They've grown their capacity. They and other ports of Danube, they've grown their capacity. Now the ports of Great Odessa have started operating. We have no problems about that, and I understand the huge number of agrarians who stay near the Polish border. They intend to export their agricultural products through Polish border, either through railway or road trucks. Unfortunately, they ended up in this situation today. So talking about agrarians, it's important. I don't understand the claims of Polish agrarians to our trucks that transport their goods through the territory of Poland to other countries. The import to Poland is banned. Back in their day, the European Commission has taken the decision based upon the requirement or demand of Poland, and we do not import 4 types of agricultural products to Poland. So why are agrarians staying there and they keep saying like cancel this or that, give us money, and unfortunately it results on our exporters and importers being impacted by this situation. So in any case, if the importers or exporters don't make a detour or use other type of transport, so when the truck is staying on the border, it impacts everybody, both the logisticians and the contractors. In your opinion, what are the prospects for the solution of the situation? How long may it last? Well, I'm convinced that the only condition for solution is negotiations, but they should be achieved at the table of negotiations, not in the border. We have to get both the governments and the associations of agrarians involved, and European Commission should also be present in those negotiations in support of Ukraine. But unfortunately, according to the insider information, before the local elections that are going to take place in Poland in April in 2 phases, the blocking will not be released. Moreover, starting from the 1st of March, there are the transportation companies joining the protests. Do you believe in Russian trace in these protests? I know that the Confederation Party was supporting those strikes back in year 22-23, and the Party of Confederation is the directly anti-Ukrainian pro-Russian party. And I'm convinced that the Russian trace in those protests is existing. And there are more official reports about some protesters being detained by Polish police for not being the agrarians, but rather the Kremlin agents. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. Do we have any questions to the speaker? Good afternoon, Liza Bykova, Ukrinform. You've mentioned that the Ukrainian cargo transporters are ready to deliver the goods in the tour around Poland. Is there a figure, any fraction of the transporters who have reoriented their logistics for the time being? Well, you know, it's not about the transporters. We ensure the logistics, but it's the exporters and importers who reorient the logistics. And many companies, even in absence of the strikes, they were transporting their goods through Romania, because Ukrainian-Polish border for the time being, it's an unpredictable thing. I'm not ready to tell you the names of the transporters. I don't have a right to do that, and the names of the contractors. But starting from the 15th of December until the 8th of February, January, for what I remember, even within that period when the border was unblocked, they were transporting their goods through Romania, because they were just insuring themselves in that way. Oksana Polishuk, Ukrinform, can you please tell us? Matsei Vronsky, the representative of the Union of Polish Transporters. He was stating that the Polish transporters were waiting for the draft order that was supposed to make the inspection of the Ukrainian transporters in Poland more strict, and there is no draft of the law so far, and their main requirement is the resumption of permits for Ukrainian transporters. Is it real to resume that practice? Is the Polish government ready to reimpose this practice once again, despite the decision of European Commission? Well, I would divide this question into two parts. Mr. Vronsky, he was offering back in his day, and I was talking to him personally a couple of times. So he is suggesting two things. On the legislative level, he wants to impose a requirement for the Ukrainian transporters, and I think it should cover not only Ukrainian transporters but all others during transportation of anything through Poland, from Poland to Ukraine, through Ukraine to Poland, or through the third countries, to use the SEND system. We were discussing it. This system is in place today. So if we carry excise task goods, the truck is documented, a driver has an app installed on their phones, and Polish fiscal bodies, they track the truck. They can order a driver to come to a specific site for inspection, where they can inspect that they transit the goods rather than deliver it to someplace in Poland. So they want us to work under this set system. It's not a very popular thing among the Ukrainian transporters, but if this law is adopted, we will have to comply with it. We have certain concerns regarding the SEP system. It doesn't operate quite correctly. We have penalties, some of our transporters, due to bad operation of GPS, and it resulted in the transporter being affected. But again, it's one of the options for the solution that may exist in place of the permits. If you want to exercise control, do it through the SEP system. Another part of the suggestion was to have all of the operators who contract the logistic services, the transportation services, should order them in 50-50 proportion. So if somebody is shipping products from Poland to Ukraine, every other truck should be Polish. This is how they suggest to establish the balance. I had a question to Mr. Vronsky. How are you going to send every other truck to my native city of Kherson? So it's all up to the Polish Sejm. Those suggestions were submitted. I don't know whether the draft law was already developed, but again, this is way beyond our competence. If such law is adopted, we have to comply with it. We have no other ways. Talking about another part of the question, the permits. The permit-free system is imposed by the European Commission. If Poland is not satisfied, they report to European Commission with a request to resume the permits. They think that somehow the agreement between European Commission and Ukraine that affects the rights of the Polish transporters. I don't think that Polish side can unilaterally resume the permits. It's impossible. There is European Commission. Poland is a part of European Union. If they think that the permits should be resumed despite the decision of the European Commission, despite the requirement of the European Union, they have to withdraw from European Union. That's my personal opinion. And again, in the agreement of European Union and Ukraine, there's a lot of issues that are of concern to me. For example, we have no right to transport the goods from Poland to Germany. And we on our end keep saying that if a transporter is doing it, we are ready to report to our government to have a transporter deprived of international license. Yeah, but please implement mirroring measures. If the Polish transporters transport certain amounts of goods across Ukraine, we should be entitled to transport the similar amount through the Polish territory. There were discussions, but they are suspended until the 1st of March, maybe 15th of March, maybe until April. We don't have any official or non-official negotiations with the transporters because they don't protest officially. Thank you very much. Another question.
Good evening, sir. Good morning, sir. My name is Lorenzo Cremonesi, reporter for Corriere della Sera Italian Daily in Ukraine. Sir, could you give us an idea of the amount of losses? How much costed this block, this problem at the border with Poland to Ukraine, to the Ukraine economy? Can you evaluate? Thank you.
Well, you understand, the figures are calculated by competent authorities, like National Bank of Ukraine calculated the losses to Ukrainian economy in November amounting to 1 billion euro. I think that Ukrainian economy is losing 1 billion of euro per month as a result of this strike. However, the competent authorities, they have their authorizations, they have relevant information. But talking about the losses of Poland, I'm sure they were bigger. And why doesn't the government of Poland react and respond this blockade? I don't personally understand it. Thank you very much, Mr. Vladimir. I'm reminding you, we were talking with Vladimir Balyn, the Vice President of the Association of International Road Carriers of Ukraine, and Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform will be back in operation at 13:30. We will be talking about the sowing campaign. Stay tuned.